Well, it will have been October 2014. I'd come fishing for bass down on Thornic Scars, and it was about an hour into darkness, nobody else about or anything, totally quiet and everything. And then all of a sudden, two big lights, you know, just sort of turned on in the sky, just appeared from nowhere. And they'll have been, as you know, 10 foot or so, 8 to 10 foot in width, circumference,
yeah.
And they were like 20 yards apart. And just bright yellow, you know, balls, basically. And they were there for 5 minutes, and I was just mesmerised, stood looking while I was fishing, like, just watching them. And then they just turned off. You know, they just sort of vanished totally. There was nothing in between them. There were just two lights, and they're just gone. And I did wonder if it was helicopters and this, that, and the other, but there was no noise whatsoever of that. And they were only like 200 yards away from where I was fishing, you know, and about 50 foot away from the cliffs. So I would have definitely heard if it was an helicopter. And after about another 5 minutes, they both turned on again in exactly the same place, never moved from where they were before. You know, and I just couldn't believe it. As I say, and they stayed again for about another 5 minutes, and I was just gobsmacked and sort of mesmerised. I was just stood looking at them, just thinking what they were, you know, trying to work out what they were. And anyway, as I say, they went out again, and about 5 minutes later I thought, oh, well, that's it. I've had enough now, I'm off home, like, you know. And as I was walking back up the cliffs, the lights appeared again, once again, for the third time. And I could see them as I was driving up the road at Thornic. I could see the lights above the outline of the cliffs, and then you'd lose them as you go over the contours of the cliffs.
Hello everybody, I'm at Bempton today with Andy Barnby, who's kindly directed me to the submarine which is over there. I don't think I'd have had bottle to come on my own, so it were good at Andy because he knows this coastline probably as good as anybody, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So
Fished it for 40, 50 years down here. So.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a long time. Hey, and for the people that don't think he's old enough to have fished it for 40, 50 years, I can tell you he is. He just looks a bit healthier than a lot of people his age. But Andy, you were on about Burniston.
Yeah, this year, a few anglers, I was fishing up there at Christmas, so I was talking to a few anglers who I know and what have you. And one of them had been down at Sailor's Grave, is a mark they call Sailor's Grave.
That's interesting in itself then. Yeah.
And he'd been fishing down there on his own, nobody else, no other cars there, nobody else fishing. And then he came up the cliffs when he'd finished fishing, like, and then he looked back and there was a white figure, a woman,
a
woman
yeah,
down on the rocks with her hand up waving to him, like.
Tell me, is that impossible for where he'd been?
Well, there's no way they can get there without him passing him.
Yeah, and he'd just been down there for a number of hours.
For a few hours, and then got back up again on the cliffs, so there's no way anybody else could have got there without going past him.
And this is at a place in Burniston called Sailor's Grave. Even names odd, isn't it?
He's not the only person. There's been others who've seen ghosts or whatever you want to call them.
Apparitions, ghosts, whatever they are, yeah.
There as well, like, you know, from previous years.
And
you know,
what do you think? Obviously, you know these blokes.
Oh, I definitely think I do. They just won't talk about them for some reason. I don't know why. But,
yeah,
you know,
well, obviously, I mean, you're respectful.
I 100% believe everything they've told me.
Yeah, well, you're respectful to them. They're your friends, so you're not going to say names. But I know if you're telling me that there's truth in it.
Another one, like, you know, he was when I was fishing with him at Burniston, he was also telling me that when he was in the plane about a UFO, an object what shot straight past the plane.
Really?
It was, you know, one of the planes like what you go for parachuting. Small.
So on East and North Yorkshire coast,
yeah. Driving around and on for his birthday had gone in one of them, and that, you know, daylight, you see.
Yeah.
And a UFO, whatever object, shot straight past so fast, you know.
Did he describe it, or did he just say this thing's shot past?
He just said this thing. It just was just so fast as this object, this UFO, whatever he called it, a UFO, like.
And I'm asking you things, and I realise I don't think you probably know, but did pilots see it as well?
I didn't ask him, to be honest.
No.
To be fair, I was just talking to him, and he was just telling me what he saw.
That's
I never thought
nuts.
to think, say, did the pilot see it or anything?
Through you and through a few other people, I've got to speak to a lot of fishermen and coast guard, lifeboat men, and I don't mean you're connected to all of them, but through you I've got to speak to a lot of people, and it's amazing what they've seen out here, isn't it?
It is.
Do you know?
Like, I've fished up, same as Ziggy, up at Bempton, fished up there for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And you see this figure now, don't you? This dark
We've seen the
apparition.
dark shape, yeah.
Well, we've all seen it up there when we're fishing.
Really?
We always used to see a light,
Yeah,
big railings coming up,
yeah.
like a headlight. But there was nobody there. Whenever we went to see, there was nobody there, no one in car park. There was always a light used to come on. And we used to think it was somebody messing about.
Or so another fisherman coming down towards you.
So we used to go and see what it was, but there's nobody there. The light would just go off and there'd be nobody about.
So did it unnerve you then when you seen a figure in darkness?
No, not really. No, we just thought it was somebody fishing until we found out it wasn't, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, all right.
You know.
And how many years are you going back with that?
Well, it's 20 years plus. It's you know what I mean.
So what we're talking about, that we've been looking at new roll-up for the last 2 years, is like nothing new, is it?
Well, I'd say most of that, like as you say, no, Ziggy, he's fished up there all his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Longer than I've fished up there.
Yeah.
And we've seen them for years and years and years. So a lot of anglers used to talk about in Brid Angling Club.
Yeah.
So a lot of them will have seen it, like. So
Brilliant. Well, I hope that might make a few more anglers come forward and tell us something.
it is a shame because I don't get to hear a lot of stories, as I say to you, but they just won't come forward and tell you about it for some reason.
Well, that's what it's like. If you get in mining communities, fishing communities, they tend to keep themselves to themselves, don't they? If they can't trust
I've asked
you.
a few of them, and that's as far as it's got. They just won't.
They won't do it.
Won't do it.
Is this getting towards time when you want to be fishing then?
Yeah, I will be start fishing.
Yeah, I'm gonna just film you for 2 minutes if you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Thanks, Andy.
That's all right.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, it is a shame they won't, you know. You often wonder why they won't, because they talk about it in pub to themselves.
Yeah, to the friends.
To the friends and everything, yeah. So
But they won't share it.
they won't share it publicly, like. So,
What do you think, it's because of ridicule or just the fact that they just don't want to do it?
I don't know.
It's coming in now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know why.
Just watch him setting his gear up. Pretty straightforward for you, Andy. That's it. Are you leaving your bag here or are you going down a bit?
Nah, I'll leave it back here. I'll just get a lure out.
So what about these sightings of, well, call them UFOs, UAPs, what about in daytime? Is it always at night?
Most, well, the ones I've seen have been at night.
Yeah.
I've never seen one in daytime.
No.
Like, you know, but I'd say a few of them, it's mainly at night. As I see it.
Yeah.
I'm still sort of frustrated at them lights I saw at Thornic that
were a big loss, that, weren't it? I walked down to Thornic a few months since and I talked about what you saw there.
And I had my camera in my bag, like I have now, my phone in my pocket, and I just never even thought to get them out and video it.
So you saw them first time, they switched off, you carried on fishing, and second time did you think, I'm calling it a night?
No, I said that, as I say, the lights came on and I just looked up and I thought, you know, what's that? There's no noise, no helicopter, all like that. And I thought, then they just stayed on and I was measuring my eyes, really, just looking at them. And then they just turned off like just magic sort of.
Yeah.
And then I never thought now of it, I just sort of carried on fishing. And then a few minutes later, they just blinked back on again.
In the same spot?
In the same place, never moved at all, same position and everything, no noise, the same.
And they're off cliff, weren't they?
Yeah, and they stayed on again for at least, three minutes, maybe more.
Jeez.
And then they went off again, and I just thought, it's weird, is this? I just can't understand it. Like,
yeah.
You know. And then I've carried on fishing for another 5 minutes or so, but it was really poor, so I thought, bugger this, I'm going. Like.
And then
as I was coming off, they came back on again.
That's nuts, isn't it?
I could have drove round to the cliffs and got a better look at them, and I just didn't, you know, I just thought,
and for anybody saying, oh, that were an helicopter, I've been down there, you'd have heard it, wouldn't you?
I would have heard it. You're only talking 200 foot, if that, away from it.
Yeah, and there's two lights, and there was two lights. Set apart.
Yeah, set apart, you know, probably 10 foot in between them. They were big lights, they were like size of a car sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they were biggish lights, but yeah, it's just weird, really.
It's crazy.
And I have always been so frustrated that I never got my camera out and recorded it.
No doubt you might think of doing that if you get this way. Well, not if you get, when you get.
Yeah, it's I know even that one what me and Ziggy saw, which was weird, all them years ago, you know. We didn't have sort of mobile phones and such as that then anyway.
No.
But, you know, that was an amazing sighting, like, but...
I'll just follow you down there just for 2 minutes.
Just go down, look for a rock when I down
there. Yeah. You'll not forget where your gear is, will you?
No, jump. I just move about different rocks.
Yeah. You want, mate? Absolutely.
You only get so far anyway because of the tide coming in.
Yeah.
That's why I have fuel, so you have to wade through it.
Yeah. Well, there we go. You can see it's coming in now. Really? Don't let me get in your way. Oh, look at this. He's like a mountain goat. So there's Andy fishing, and we'll just spend 5 minutes watching him. How long will you stay here?
I'll probably stay here for about an hour.
Yeah.
Then move on, you know.
Bit further down.
Yeah.
Look at this. And here's the reason I want to come on my own. And Andy's fishing for bass, which if he catches you'll tag, won't you, and release?
Yeah.
Yep.
Lovely day though.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when you think about it, when it comes to over the sea, there's nobody better placed than you lads.
Smaller ones will stay over winter, but your bigger ones go off to breed.
Right. I just caught sight of that one going over. I bet I missed others.
Yeah.
I'm going to start and make my way back over there, Andy.
Yeah, alright, well, no problem.
So guys, that just about concludes my visit, and I hope you've enjoyed. Hope you found it interesting. Very good of Andy to be my guide and get me there knowing it's safe. I'll visit again now without him because I kind of know the lie of the land. So I'm heading my way back now towards a more flatter part of the beach, and I might resume by telling you an incredible story from here. We'll get back up here and then we'll do the story. But it involves a group of men who'd come to do a bit of rock angling under the cliff tops of Speeton, Bempton and Buckton. They were going to fish the night there. They were going to get cut off by the tide and come back when the tide receded, which is something that me and Andy have just been discussing and something that he does regularly. So, all goes to plan. They're there this particular night. It's winter, but they know the coastline, they know the beach well, they know they can get back once the tide starts to recede. In the early hours of the morning, there's a huge flash of light. A gold light just literally lights up the cliff face, lights up the surrounding rocks like daylight. But instead of just being a huge flash of light that appears and disappears, it stayed. They were bathed in a golden light, so I'm told. Unbelievably, they couldn't get back. They were frightened, but there was no way back. So they had to stay and endure whatever it was that was going to happen. Because as you know, night just simply cannot become day in the blink of an eye. But we've lots of reports of this in this area. But usually it's just literally for the blink of an eye, a split second, and then it's back to night. But on this occasion, the gold light stayed, and it was warm. And they're in the winter time, don't forget, guys, and these men stripped off down to their underwear. It was that warm. They were frightened. They couldn't get back because the tide was in, and they claimed that they could see the figures, the hazy figures of people moving about in this hazy gold light. This is not as crazy as it sounds. I've got a report of a fishing boat that took a party of fishermen back in 2014 out to the 10 wrecks, who claimed that they were surrounded in a golden light, a hazy gold light, and all communication, radar, radio transmissions, everything just ceased. It was like they'd entered another world. So what did these anglers encounter that night when they were fishing? Obviously, they did survive, they did live to tell the tale. Nothing happened to them apart from being extremely frightened. But what would you do? What would you do if you was in such a situation? I think there was 4 men. And I've got the story of one of them. Unbelievably, and stripping down in the winter to your underwear because it's suddenly become daytime. But not only has it become daytime, it's unusual. This light is not normal. It's a gold, hazy light that they're enveloped in. All the way around these cliff tops and out to sea. Just when you think it can't get any stranger, it does. So guys, thank you for listening. Press the like and subscribe. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.